Assalamualaikum, hello all. I'm delighted that so many of you called me today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Saiful Hidayat. I'm a college student in the Awan Communication Faculty, Islamic State University, Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is the impact of globalization in environmental, especially in water pollution. Increase in public consumption in the era of globalization make water production more and more, especially factories that dispose of their water into water, causing water pollution. This is a list of content. The first is what is water pollution, and the second is what are the causes of water pollution. The third is the issue of pittsboro drinking water among worst in US. Fourth is the effect of water pollution. Five is the solution. Okay, and then British bird how then was not thousand have life without love, not one without water. Yet we all know water is crucial for life. We trace it anyway. Some 80% of the world water is dumped largely unrated back into the environmental polluting rivers and lake and ocean. This widespread problem of water pollution is due to raising our health. Unserved water kills more people each year than war and other forms of violence combined. Meanwhile, our drinkable water are finite. Less than 1% of the Earth's fresh water is actually accessible to us. Without any action, the challenge will only increase by 2050 when global demand for fresh water is expected to be one-third greater than it is now. Sip a glass of cold clear water as you read this, and you may think water pollution is a problem somewhere else. But while most Americans have access to safe drinking water, potentially harmful contents from arsenic to copper to lead have been found in the tap water of every single state in the nation. Still, we are not helpless against the threat to clean water to better understand the problem and what we can do about it. Here's an overview of what the water pollution is, what causes it, and how we can protect ourselves. Okay, now for slide 4, this is the statistic of American concern about water pollution in 1999 until 2017. Pollution of river, lakes, and reservoirs in tune with pollution of drinking water. Okay, now, what is water pollution? Water pollution occurs when harmful substances, often chemical or microorganisms, contaminate a stream like a river, lake, ocean, aquifer, or other body of water, degrading water quality and rendering it toxic to humans or the environment. Okay, now what are the causes of water pollution? Water is uniquely vulnerable to pollution. Known as a universal solvent, water is able to dissolve more substance than any other liquid on the earth. It is the reason have a cool air and brilliant blue waterfall. It also why water is so easily polluted. Toxic substance from farms, towns, and factories readily dissolve into mixed with it, causing water pollution. Okay. Um, and the most common types of water contamination agriculture. Not only in the agricultural sector, the biggest consumer of global freshwater resource, with farming and livestock producing using about 70% of the Earth's water supplies, but it is also a serious water polluter around the world. Agriculture is the leading cause of water degradation in the United States. Agricultural pollution is the top source of contamination in river and stream, the second biggest source in wetland, and the third main source in lakes. It also major contributor of contamination to its sewage and groundwater. Every time it rains, fertilizer, pesticide, and animal water from farm and livestock operation was nutrient and pathogens such as bacteria and virus into our waterways. Nutrient pollution caused by excess nitrogen and phosphorus in the water or air is the number one threat to water quality worldwide and can cause algal blooms and toxic soap of blue-green algae that can be harmful to people and wildlife. And then sewage and wastewater. Water in is wastewater. It comes from our sand shower and toilet steam water, and from commercial, industrial, and agricultural activity, metal, solvent, and toxic. The term also includes stormwater runoff, which occurs when rainfall creates roads, salt, oils, creates chemical and debris from impermeable surface into our waterways. More than 80% of the world's water flows back into the environment without being treated or used according to the nation. In some less developed countries, the figure of top 95% in the United States wastewater treatment facilities process about 34 billion gallons of the wastewater per day. And then oil spill in the river beds and the ocean most often are caused by accidents involving tankers, barges, pipeline, refining trains, grids, and storage facilities spill can be caused by people making mistakes or being careless, equipment breaking down. And then radioactive substance. Radioactive waste is any pollution that emits radiation beyond what is naturally released by the environment. It's generated by uranium, meaning nuclear power plants, and the production of testing of military people, as well as by universities and hospitals that use radioactive materials for research and medicine. Radioactive waste can persist in the environment for thousands of years, making disposal a major challenge. Consider the combination Harvard nuclear weapon production site in the Washington, where the cleanup of 56 million gallons of radioactive waste is expected to cost more than 100 billion and last year at 2060. Um, one of the one of the issues that will be discussed is an expensive nationwide study has confirmed what governments have long suspected. Pittsboro has some of the worst drinking water in the country. Last month, Consumer Report, a non-profit dedicated to unbiased product testing, investigate journalism and consumer-oriented research. According to its website, concluded a 9-month investigation into water quality across America. The organization partnered with Guardian US, a branch of the British newspaper, to evaluate water quality from 120 locations around the country in a head-to-head comparison. Almost every sample contained a measurable level of PFAS, per polyfluoralkyl substance, a dangerous carcinogen also known to elevate risk of thyroid disease, increase blood cholesterol level, and cause a birth defect. But the Pittsboro concentration was in a league. Into itself, it was surprised. James Rogers, director of food safety testing and research of Consumer Report, told the News Plus record, "We had a couple of the sample that were high, but that was the highest on we had." He said, "It takes a lot surprise." Roger was specialist in pathogenic microbiology and has studied water and food safety for decades before joining Consumer Report 4 years ago. He worked at 80 years as a microbiologist with U.S. Department of Agriculture. His career also includes stint with the U.S. Army and U.S. Navy and some time as a professor at the Morgan State University in Baltimore. Still, he did not accept to find such high PFAS concentration in his latest study. "I did know that you guys had those issues," he said, "and had been dealing with those issues for so long." So, this concentration, even dangerous amount, are undetectable without specialized equipment. Their level are typically measured in parts per trillion. For content, the CR report point out a single part per trillion is about the size of one of the pool crane in an Olympic-sized pool. Albeit instrumental, just a few parts per trillion can be several determinant of the human body when consumed regularly over several years. Pittsboro water contained 80.2 ppd at the staging concentration. Roger said, "Well, let's look like it this way." He said, "We're talking parts per trillion, but we can't just talk about the number. Health experts say the level should be all the way down to 1. But basically what we are saying is Pittsboro 80 times and the level that health experts say we should be seeing for PFAS in the water 80 times. So that really what is the issue is. The EPA recommended but does not require that water contains no more than 70 ppd of PFAS. But then standard is egregious and outmoded. Rogers says it has endured from a time before much research discovered the serious of issue in America. What are the effects of water pollution on human health? To put in bluntly, water pollution kills. In fact, it caused 1.8 million deaths in 2015 2015. According to a study published in the Lancet, contaminated water can also make you ill. Every year, unsafe water sickness about 1 billion people and low-income communities are disproportionately at risk because their homes and urban closer to the most polluting industry. Waterborne pathogens in the form of disease causing bacteria and virus from human and animal water are a major cause of illness from contaminated drinking water. Diseases spread by unsafe water including cholera, giardia, or typhoid, or diarrhea even in wealthy nations accidentally or illegally released from sewage treatment facilities as well as a runoff from farms and urban areas, contributing harmful pathogens to waterways. Thousands of people across the United States are sickness every year by legionnaires. Diseases serve from pneumonia contracted from water sources like a cooling tower and piped water with gas dropping up from California Disneyland to Manhattan Upper East Side. Meanwhile, the plight of residents in Flint, Michigan. Okay, now on the environmental sector. In order to drive healthy ecosystem rely on a complex web of animal, plants, bacteria, and fungi, all of which interact directly or indirectly with each other. Harm to any of these organisms can create a chain effect, impairing an entire aquatic environment. When water pollution causes an algae bloom in a lake or marine environment, the proliferation of new introduced nutrients stimulate plant and algae growth, which is in turn reduces oxygen level in the water. Okay, and then what you can do to prevent water pollution. The first with your action. It's easy to tax the oil company with a leaking tanker, but we are accountable to some degree for today's water pollution problem. Fortunately, there are some simple ways you can prevent water contamination or at least limit your contribution to it. First one is reduce your plastic consumption and reuse or recycle plastic when you can. And the second, properly dispose of chemical cleanse oil and non-biodegradable items to keep them from ending up down the drain. And the third, maintain your car so it doesn't leak oil, antifreeze, or coolant. Fourth, if you have a yard, consider landscaping that reduces runoff and avoid applying pesticide and herbicide. If you have any dirty, be sure to pick up it. Okay, now with your voice, one of the most effective ways to stand up for our water is to speak out in support of the Clean Water Rule. With clarification, the Clean Water Act scope and protects the drinking water of one in the world. Okay, and then with technology. In the era of globalization, technology is increasingly sophisticated, especially water purification technology. So we can also using any water purification technology with filter on infrared biomolecular. Okay, the new solution. This is a PNG. The PNG water purification technology is an extraordinary innovation that is able to immediately process 10 liters of potentially deadly dirty water into clean and potable water. This gadget was created by PNG scientists who initially attempt to simply separate the dirt from the water from washing clothes. As a result, they created a breakthrough technology that provides the ability to purify dirty water to anyone, anywhere in the world in a simple and convenient way to affordable price. This water purification technology was originally developed in collaboration with the U.S. Center for Disease Control of Prevention (CDC). The way this technology works involves the three stages of the process, namely clothing, fluoridation, disinfection, or germination. Okay, thank you. Bye.